Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. State and federal authorities are ramping up their response to the coronavirus situation as the epidemic spreads and reaches a new milestone. There's also another person being tested for the condition here in Tasmania. Our reporter Ruby Kamain joins us now. Ruby, good evening. Just how serious is the new suspect case?
Rachel, Public Health says coronavirus is not strongly suspected, but they're taking a precautionary approach. The woman in her 20s had recently travelled from China and reported feeling unwell. She's now in the Launceston General Hospital. Now, as this situation evolves, there's also new measures being implemented by state and federal authorities.
A global outbreak continuing to spread. Coronavirus now reported in 14 countries. More than 6,000 confirmed cases.
Our job is to make sure that, above all else, we are protecting the health of Australian citizens.
A complicating factor as local authorities respond to the end of school holidays. Term 1 has already begun interstate, forcing New South Wales to ban students and staff from attending for 14 days if they visited China. But federal authorities say only those in contact of a confirmed case need to be isolated.
Some schools have decided to go further than that. That is their individual right to be able to do that. Some states have taken a more cautious approach.
The virus presenting similar symptoms to influenza, breaking out in the Hubei province in Wuhan, China last month. That area currently remains in lockdown. Missions now ahead to rescue people trapped, including an estimated 600 Australians. Children and the elderly the priority.
There is a rather limited window here, and we are moving very, very swiftly to ensure that we can put this plan together.
In an extra precaution, those evacuated from Wuhan will be taken to Christmas Island and be quarantined for at least 14 days.
We are making decisions every single day, and we will continue to take decisions to protect Australians, their safety, their well-being, whether here or where they may be in a position of vulnerability overseas.
Federal health authorities updating their advice late this afternoon, saying anyone who has travelled from the Hubei province should self-isolate for 14 days.
At this time, the aim of the policy is containment of novel coronavirus and the prevention of person-to-person transmission within Australia.
The economic impacts already hitting Tasmania amid export market downturns in China for local rock lobster. The state government announcing this year's quota to roll over into the next, as well as easier levy payment plans and alternative avenues for fishers.
It's about 80% of our exports through to China. It's a very important part of our exports through to China. Clearly, in terms of access to other markets, that's important, and that'll be something that will be helping and supporting the industry.
But as the world faces a growing epidemic, Australian researchers have had a breakthrough. Melbourne scientists managing to use a patient sample to successfully grow the virus to help global combat efforts.
The virus can be used in the assessment of the effectiveness of vaccines particularly and of medicines. It also gives us the opportunity to create a first-generation antibody test.
So Ruby, that's some good news on the scientific progress, but there's a concerning international development now.
Yes, something that's worrying experts is human-to-human transmissions happening outside China. Up until now, the verified cases involved people who had been to the country, but now Germany and Japan have confirmed the coronavirus in people who haven't even travelled to China. We've also heard that German transmission came from someone who hadn't even developed symptoms yet. So they passed it on before they were even aware they were sick. So, Rachel, it's a new frontier in this outbreak.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ruby. Ruby Kamain there from the newsroom with the latest on coronavirus. A German tourist has been charged after a fatal crash in the state on Monday. The 66-year-old man has been charged with death by negligent driving for his part in the Huon Highway crash, which killed a 59-year-old man from Dover. He's been forced to surrender his passport but was granted bail. He'll appear in court next month. A controversial Tasmanian tourism project proposed in a World Heritage Area is tonight facing more backlash after new details about the lease were released. Some believe the Halls Island project could create an economic boom, while activists are labelling it a rort.
Its lush landscapes and quiet flowing rivers have attracted fly fishermen and bushwalkers for years, and new documents reveal you can rent Halls Island for just $4,000 a year.
Imagine being able to get a lease on a whole island, exclusive use in the World Heritage Area for only $4,000 a year.
I could buy an old jalopy for that. That was a lease that was independently considered by an independent valuer.
The proponent, Wild Drake, releasing details for the contentious project in the walls of Jerusalem National Park, which is set to helicopter holidays into the luxurious camping site. The company will be charged for the 20-year lease, plus an extra $2,000 per year for a hut on the site.
The only access is by air, and the only business you can run is a camp. I think that says a lot about the value of the land.
Environmental groups are outraged, speculating that tickets for a holiday could cost upwards of $4,500.
What these documents reveal is a whole, litany of problems.
It's a crazy notion that this is ecotourism. It's not, it's eco-destruction.
The proponent, Daniel Hackett, says he's released the documents in the name of transparency.
We don't believe he's been open and transparent. He was forced into this position.
However, Wild Drake says it's only planning 30 flights a year, and the Tourism Council is confident it will be a positive venture to showcase a unique part of Tasmania.
Spend time in our remarkable wilderness, fish, enjoy the lifestyle, enjoy the extraordinary surroundings, and there were people willing to pay a premium to do it.
The next hurdle for the project, federal approval, which the proponent says is imminent. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Terrible traffic could soon be a thing of the past in Launceston. The state government and council combating congestion using new innovative technology.
A commuter's biggest headache, gridlock traffic and lengthy delays. It's time unnecessarily wasted, and it's costing businesses.
At different times, our customers and even ourselves cannot get in and out of our premises. Definitely help the businesses, less congestion. We see it all the time. People can't get in, they drive by.
Traffic congestion could soon be a thing of the past. With the help of state and federal money, as well as council funds, Launceston CBD and surrounding areas are set for a traffic system overhaul.
It will reduce the instances of motorists sitting at a red light with no other traffic to worry about. It will take our outdated traffic signalling into the modern era.
It's another example of the collaboration that's driven by the City Deal, delivering so much for Launceston.
The Smart Traffic project will see new sensors and CCTV cameras installed at intersections, making Launceston one of the first cities to receive the technology.
It's going to provide very much great information and data for us as a community to be able to collect, see where the hotspots are, to see the real flow of cars, to see how many cars are building up at intersections, to see which lights are breaking down.
The project is set to be complete by August. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Authorities are urging Tasmanians to prepare their properties and plan ahead, with challenging weather bringing high fire danger over the coming days. The Tasmania Fire Service says despite recent cool conditions, the public needs to stay alert.
Reduce the fuel up to 50 metres around their property. You need to make the decision early about leaving, prepare yourself, review your plan, think about where your family is tomorrow.
So it's sort of that hot and windy combined with the long-term rainfall deficiencies that have left the fuels in the eastern half of the state in particular very dry.
A total fire ban for the South, Northern Midlands and Break of Day areas has also been declared for the next 2 days. The nation's catastrophic bushfires have touched many Tasmanians, digging deep to help communities in need. Tonight, Launceston is raising vital funds, hosting a gala cocktail party. Our reporter Elizabeth O'Neill is at the Tower Race Centre. Good evening, Elizabeth. How much are organisers expecting to raise?
Well, Rach, an event similar to this one was held for the Dunalley bushfires, raising more than $100,000, and they're hoping to raise a similar amount tonight. The idea for the event only came about 3 weeks ago and has taken more than 40 volunteers to make it happen. Attendees will be treated to live music, a dance performance, as well as food and drinks. 100% of the ticket price and proceeds from the auction will go to the Australian Rotary Bushfire Appeal. I spoke to organiser Danny Gibson about the event a little earlier.
I think what we've seen through this event is that people just want to make a difference. And of course, we've seen so many examples, children selling lemonade, people having cake stalls, and of course all of the normal charity avenues that have been opened. But what this particular event has done is ask those community businesses and individuals who perhaps haven't got the funds to donate to perhaps donate some goods or some services that we can use to auction or as a prize. So we've got in excess of $70,000 worth of goods and prizes and services that have been donated to this event.
More than 400 people are expected to attend tonight, and if the last event is anything to go by, it's sure to be a great evening, Rach.
Well, a strange new advertising campaign is targeting Tasmanian cat owners in an effort to promote responsible pet ownership. It's hoped to reduce the number of native animals killed by our pets, but also cut down on the number of cats surrendered to shelters.
They may be cute and playful, but these kittens are helping to spread a serious message. Today, helping to launch a new advertising campaign aimed at educating cat owners on the importance of keeping their pets indoors.
A wild cat can kill 750 animals a year, so it's important for the well-being of the environment, it's important for the community, and it's very important for the health of the cat itself.
The videos are part of the Tassie Cat campaign, sharing the impact that roaming cats can have, as well as the burden they have on facilities like 10 Lives, who last year saw more than 1,300 animals surrendered. Aiming to catch the eye of the public, using a man in a cat costume to stand out.
I think they're fairly unique, and hopefully because they're unique they'll catch the interest of the general public and get a conversation going.
It's part of a $1.4 million spend by the state government on a cat management plan, aiming to educate the public on easy and safe ways to keep their animals and local wildlife safe.
That includes de-sexing, microchipping, and ensuring that wherever possible they are looked after indoors and in a responsible way.
Less than 3% of the cats that make their way here to 10 Lives are microchipped, making it almost impossible to return them home. The team are hopeful that this new campaign will help change that.
It's vital with the stray cat and unwanted cat problem that we have in Tasmania that education initiatives like this are taken.
Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
There's some hard evidence to show just how good Tasmania's firefighters are. Data from the Productivity Commission reveals our crews are the fastest in the nation in responding to structure fires. It takes them an average of 4.1 minutes to respond, not including the call-taking time. That's twice as quick as those in WA. The figures show we have more than 4,200 volunteer firefighters across the state. That number has dropped by about 600 from 10 years ago, but the TFS says they're more dedicated than ever.
We see more activity, more commitment from our volunteers now than we have perhaps 10 years ago, when we may have had more, but the people we've got today are much more committed, more trained and make themselves more available.
Despite the drop, our state has the second highest rate of firefighting volunteers, with almost 1 in every 1,000 Tasmanians stepping into the line of duty. A Tasmanian grandfather who suffered a major heart episode has been reunited with his saviours and says without them he wouldn't be here to tell his story. Daryl Terry was going to head home to sleep it off, but instead went to hospital and survived, thanks to the calm advice of St John's volunteers.
The last time these people were together, it was under very different circumstances. This grandfather of 10 was working at the Royal Hobart Show and experiencing chest pain and shortness of breath. Without wanting to cause a fuss, he caught the attention of St John's volunteers.
If it weren't for these two ladies, I wouldn't be here.
Despite the serious symptoms, he didn't want to leave his brother to handle the stall on his own. Enter nurse Colleen, who quickly told him to get to hospital.
Get a check out, and then if everything's fine, all good, but just didn't seem to be that it was going to be all fine.
Beck took over the sales at the stall, helping Daryl's brother.
I said I'll be back in a couple of hours. Yeah.
19 days and 5 bypasses later, his cardiologist told him sobering words.
He said to me, he said, you would have went home and had a sleep, he said, but you wouldn't have woken up.
Colleen's advice made a world of difference and prevented family heartbreak.
He's now got quite a few more years left that he can spend with his family.
Life-saving guidance he's glad he took, now keen to share with others.
You've got to learn to know your signs. Don't take 2 or 3 hours, I'll go and have a sleep before I go in, because you could pass away.
Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian Harry Boucher has been knocked out of the Burnie International. The 24-year-old lost to Belgian Kima Koppajon 7-5, 3-6, 4-6. Fellow Aussies Andrew Harris and Tristan Skulkate were also eliminated in straight sets. After a man-of-the-match performance for the Hurricanes, Matthew Wade says he's enjoying his cricket as much as ever. Wade is hoping for another big score tomorrow night against the Sydney Thunder, while David Miller's spot remains up for grabs. You know there's a final on when fans line the nets at practice, all catching a glimpse of their Hurricanes elevated to hero status after their barnstorming run into the finals. Among them, Matthew Wade, who's averaging 56 for the side this Big Bash season.
I've been enjoying my cricket for the last 2 or 3 years since I got back to Tassie, to be honest, and took all that weight of expectation and pressure off myself. I think it's certainly got the best out of my game.
His opening partnership with Darcy Short is the envy of rival teams, but Wade insists there's no competition between them.
Nah, not at all. Darcy's going to get man of the match 9 times out of 10 because he bowls as well, so there's not even a contest there. The key when someone's going is to try and get them on strike and not let your ego take over.
David Miller's return home to South Africa leaves the door open for a new number 4 batsman. Simon Malenko has been recalled to the 13-man squad.
He just had a really good tour up in Queensland. We had a second 11 T20 tournament up there, and he made some runs. So we brought him into the squad, and Jake Doran's already in there. So there are 2 spare batters.
We won't know who gets the nod though until the final 11 is revealed at the bat flip tomorrow night. 7 of Tasmania's finest whistleblowers have scored a goal of their own by being chosen to umpire in the upcoming AFLW season. Among them is goal umpire Xanthia McCarthy. Incredibly, she had never seen a full game of football when she began in 2015.
So as we were walking out before my first game, the field umpire held up the ball and the siren went off. I turned around and I was like, "What's that?" I was so terrified.
They're going to be looked at by AFL umpire observers. There'll be media involved, so it's a very good learning experience, and it's only going to stand them in good stead for their future careers.
You can't accuse her of being biased though. She's yet to choose which AFL team she wants to support. The first of 2 AFLW matches in Tasmania is at UTAS Stadium on February 15.
Good evening. Fingal, the high today with 30 degrees. Hobart reached 29, Launceston 25, Burnie 26 today and Devonport 21. Temperatures generally above average. We did have a few showers over the west, but only light readings. St Helens 29 degrees, Ouse 27 and Grove 26. Friendly Beaches 25, Lyawini 22, Low Head and the Islands 20, Strawn just 19. We had mid to low level cloud today over the west and through Bass Strait. The cloud over the south cleared early this afternoon. Low cloud is over coastal New South Wales and clearing parts of Victoria. A heavier band of cloud containing thunderstorms covers a good portion of Queensland and the Territory. A band of cloud with the front approaches the west. Tomorrow a cold front brushes our south while a high over the Tasman extends a ridge over Victoria and Queensland. The monsoon trough there over the far north and the next front moving over the Bight. North to northwesterlies 25 knots reaching 30 knots at times. A shift to the southwest-southeast will occur in the afternoon and evening. A strong wind warning from the northern tip of Flinders Island down and around to Sandy Cape and also for the Central Plateau Lakes. And we have a fire weather warning that's current for the eastern half of the state, a severe fire danger for the east, southeast and Midlands. Hobart warming up to 33, hot and sunny, 30 for Cygnet and 33 for New Norfolk. Launceston, a top of 31, a hot day, sunny afternoon, sunny for Devonport, 24, 34 for Campbelltown. Burnie, a top of 27, sunny for Strawn and 25, 28 the high for Smithton. and 4. St Helens 35, 36 for Swansea, hot and windy for Fingal as well, 35 degrees. UV extreme for the state. On Friday, late rain after another hot day, high 30s, in fact 39 expected at Cygnet and New Norfolk. Rain and thunderstorms on Saturday, contracting to the north and east in the evening, and on Sunday possible morning showers over the east, westerly winds picking up with a shower or two over the west. A possible shower in Perth tomorrow, 42 and sunny in Adelaide, warm as well in Melbourne and Canberra. Sydney and Brisbane fine, but very heavy rainfall predicted for Alice Springs. Clear at the moment, Hobart 25 degrees, Launceston clear and 22, partly cloudy in Devonport right now and 19 degrees. Some very hot and unstable weather heading our way for the next 2 or 3 days, well into the weekend. Monday, temperatures back to 16 degrees. But for tomorrow, Rach, I'm reckoning a beer logo tank top, pair of shorts and socks and sandals for me.
Just a normal day at work for you, really, isn't it? Thanks for that, Murph. That's all your news for now. I'll be back with updates a little later. Thanks for joining us. Good night.